Hello everyone, and welcome to the super easy beginner kind of analysis, not so much class. Tonight, we're going to be going over just a couple of the trades we looked at last week. And of course, we've got, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new entries to take a look at for tonight. So without further ado, first off, I have to say, if you're liking what you're seeing on this channel, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell notification and all the other stuff I'm supposed to say on YouTube to really help the algorithm. Lord knows I'm a really good trader and I love people. This whole YouTube thing and video stuff definitely needs some TLC. So please make sure you're liking and doing all that stuff that helps that little system and the powers that be. Before we move on to our charts, we are going to have to obviously do our disclaimer that says nothing can be considered legal, financial, or investing advice. I practice high risk, high reward trading. You can follow similar steps with safer, lower risk, lower reward trading styles too. That means smaller stop losses. That means maybe, well, I don't know if that's safer or not, but potentially smaller stop losses, smaller lot sizes is what I was actually thinking, smaller percentages of risk on your account. You have loads of options, even using, comparable strategies or systems that I use. So let's go ahead and go over to our charts now and take a look at what we were seeing last week. So I'm going to pause this and come over here to this screen. First thing, we looked at 3 pairs last week, kind of did more of a live class, which we hadn't actually done in quite a while. And there wasn't a lot of major things setting up. A lot of the pairs had made those really extreme, really aggressive, no turnaround kind of drops and or buys, just no end in sight. Obviously, we've got a ton going on worldwide. We've got the fundamentals from literally every sector and aspect of the world. We've got the wars, we've got the pandemics, we've got economics, we've got housing stuff, we've just every boom, right? The taxes, politics, fundamentals are hitting us on all sides. With that said, I maintain that as a technical analysis trader, you can look at mostly your technical, if I could talk properly, your technical analysis most of the time, and it will absorb and or the fundamentals aren't going to break it. But there are going to be periods in our trading journey and our trading career that fundamentals just take it to the bank. Like they completely, they have all the cards and all the powers. So please, anything we're doing in the coming weeks, treat that mindfully. This week is NFP. We again have loads going on around the world on every sector. And that's kind of my disclaimer for the day. So last Tuesday, typically these recordings are about 2 weeks apart, sometimes even 3. This one's only 1. So let's take that with a grain of salt. But we looked at 3 pairs, 1, 2, lost 1. So we're going to just start with the losing pair. We know if I zoom out a little bit, USD CAD has made a huge move. We had a nice impulse. We had a buy signal on this implicity reversal system. We popped down, make a lower low, again, made another lower low, and we're still just not ready to buy. So we looked at these trades on, technically that was March 29th, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is about March 30th, 2 o'clock candle time for UTC, right? So let's come over here to see where that was. Kind of get a really good idea, get a good picture. I'm not going to go too deep into the sauce here, but in and around here, right before actually that fractal formed, we would have needed a break of the previous fractal, which is over here. So had you come over here and try to take that, obviously you got wicked down. When I say wicked down, I mean by more than a spring. So in total, if you did take this even down to previous structure plus room, you're looking at about an 83 pip loss. Can't win them all. This market has been kind of crazy, but that does count as a loss. I know, horrible way to start the video, but definitely always real. That one was a loss. Let's look at USD JPY. This is my nice little Swiss Army knife tool, kind of creates my watch list and everything that I need. This was USD JPY. Let's make sure this is nicely optimized for viewing. Try that one more time. Got it. So you know the candle time that we were looking. This pair has made historical levels in terms of percentages, and still we haven't got that turnaround just yet. So from where price was sitting in total, we moved about 145 pips. We know we're always protecting within 50 pips and closing a good portion. Okay, within 1 ADR, depending on if you're going to a smaller time frame for entry, you can even say a couple of ATR, depending on how you're entering, but you're definitely protected or scaled out of your trade within 50 pips or 1 ADR. And we definitely hit more than that. So that was a winning trade, 145 pips. Not a bad way to be. If you're looking at it today, nice impulse, We're coming back up to where price broke out before. We might come up to make another higher high. We might just make this M formation. But needless to say, we're not chasing this. We want confirmation of a sell before we just try to time the top. That's a recipe for disaster and a recipe for getting your butt handed to you and just losing a bunch of trades. So not a bad trade, but it's off of our watch list for now. That's played out. Last but not least, EuroCAD. So EuroCAD real quick, 1 hour. You know what time we were looking at this. We were looking at this on the 29th, which is actually the 30th, at the 2 o'clock candle. And this one, we even notated that I was taking this live. So this is right around here saying, hey, we corrected. This is the time that I want to enter. But even if had you waited, you still got your 100 pips out of it. Not a bad way to be. Moved to 127. I only got 100, but still not a bad trade whatsoever. If you're tracking the simplicity system on the 1 hour time frame, you get a perfect sell signal as well for another couple hundred pips, but kind of a wash of a week. So that's 100 and 145 pip win. So that's 245 and an 83 pip loss. Not a bad week whatsoever. Just one of those break even, not quite winning, not quite losing kind of situations. So take that off of our watch list. And let's see. I'm going to first off list these trades. The ones that we're going to be looking at for this week are GU. I'm going to put that on our watch list for the buy at fractal break. Australian 200 for the sell at fractal break. CAD JPY for the sell at fractal break. Euro, if I could talk, Euro NZD at fractal break. Well, I'll have to confirm that when we go take a look, but one of these is not fractal break. One of these is now. It's a live. GBP Chef. I like this one a lot. I'm already in that one. And then I don't trade a lot of the exotics, but I really love the setup on this. Clean, easy, not a lot of drama. Really great risk to reward. Not a bad setup whatsoever. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades to analyze real quick. 1 hour time frame. You guys know the drill. Let's look at what candle we're on. Really simple. Let's see if I can hone in here. That's the 2 o'clock candle. We're actually ending the 2 o'clock candle right now. So it's kind of the 3 o'clock, but that's neither here nor there. Really, you're looking at the most recent fractal prior to the 2 o'clock candle. So the most recent fractal prior to the time of this recording is this fractal right here. We can break this or we can wait for a pullback. But this is USD Mexican. We've got a beautiful buy entry. Okay, we've already pushed up. We're sitting kind of at where prices broke out before. You can choose to wait for a pullback to retest this nice engulfing candle, or you can say, hey, I'm going to take a lot size here and I'll put alerts obviously all the way down. Totally up to you on how you want to do it. As a breakout, obviously you're waiting for the break of that fractal. So how much room do you have? Let's zoom out, make it ugly. We've already got our crosshairs up. I'm looking to take this all the way up to where price broke out before for approximately 7,900-ish pips. With even if I add a huge spring and say my stop loss is about 3,500, 4,000 pips, which it's not going to be that big, it's going to give some room. You're still looking at better than a 2-to-1, even 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So really simple, easy trade to consider. Definitely put that on your watch list if you're not already in that. Next, let's go to our next kind of non-Forex pair, Australian 200. First thing you got to know is this is an index, which means if you can't afford to trade this, don't trade this. This is worth a lot more per pip. Well, more accurately, it moves a lot more than other pairs that you're used to trading if you're typically a Forex trader. So please test this on demo, understand the lot sizes, understand the movement before you take this on a live account. This is one of the slower moving indices, and I trade a lot of indices. With that said, you guys can see huge, beautiful impulse move up, kind of a double top. We've got some divergence depending on the oscillators you're using. We've got our sell signal from our reversal system. We've got it in the hot zone, which we know is just Fibonacci. All right, we already know what all this stuff means. There's our arrow. Okay, we've already kind of come down. We're getting some wicks at where price broke out before. So we're looking at a slight retest potentially, and then a continuation down. So even if price only comes down to where prices broke out before, and that's all we get from this move, I'll zoom out just to make it a little ugly from where price is currently at, because it's breaking that fractal now. It already wicked down. So you technically have a better entry than that fractal break. That's about 1,008, what is that, 1,080-ish pips. So you're still at a 1-to-1, give or take. And this would be my major first target. Really what I'm looking to see happen is it break into this zone, have a pullback, and come all the way down into this area, which is approximately a 4-to-1. Don't quote me if I'm not mistaken on my math. I really strongly attempt not to do math in public. But there you go. That's 3,000-ish pips into this zone. So 3-to-1. All the way up to here, 1,000. Yeah, 3-to-1. If you're giving it a spring, definitely 3-to-1. Nowhere near 4-to-1. But again, great potential trade setup. Please don't take this in your live account if you've never taken an index trade or don't know what this pair is. It will eat you up. USD Mexican is the exact opposite. It's not going to be worth very much depending on your broker. So get comfortable with these two pairs. They're not your traditional Forex pairs. Next on our list is GBP CHF. First, we have to acknowledge all the GBP pairs have tanked. That's a big deal. CHF, on the other hand, has made a nice impulse. We've corrected, made another impulse, and now we're sitting at kind of this nice area of interest. I'm looking right now, I definitely am not going to wait for the break of that fractal. So let me notate that, and I've got that on my list. So buy now at this 3 o'clock candle, looking for the buy now. It gives us a really good risk to reward. Let's see where price is currently at. All the way up to where prices broke out before. That's about 200 pips away. Whereas our stop loss is, you could say 75. Not bad at all. This is a great potential setup. Please know when you're in profit on any of these, with everything going on around the world, definitely a good idea to maybe just protect your profit. When you hit 50 pips, notice how small this ADR is currently, which means we've been consolidating for a long time. So we're looking for a massive, potentially explosive move coming. Can't guarantee which direction, obviously. We don't get the power, to do that. But I'd like to be on the right side and be ready to capitalize on it when it does happen. So great potential setup according to simplicity in this reversal system. Something to take a look at. And if you manage it properly, you've got a really great risk to reward setup as well. Euro NZD. I put this on my watch list mostly because, again, the diversity of pairs, we don't want to be over leveraged per pair. Please notate this beautiful double bottom, nice engulfing candle. We've come down to retest a little bit, not quite 50% like I'd want to see, but beautiful formation we've got here. Nice wick off of the zone that we've stopped at before. And in general, great risk to reward ratio. So if I zoom out and make this ugly, well, first thing I'm going to say is we don't have a simplicity signal on it just yet. At least not here. We do over here. We've kind of made a new level. And now I really want to see this impulse up, correct, and come all the way back up into this zone. So are we going to get that much on this pair? We shall see. But again, all the way into this area, that is a lot of pips. That's 590. Your stop loss on this, if you don't wait for a bit of a pullback, is, even giving it room for a spread, 125, 130, give or take, depending on your broker and all the stuff that's more individual to you. You're still at close to a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 trade. So don't necessarily enter this one just yet, because again, this is a huge candle. So we really want to see this retest. But you've got a couple of ways to take this. You can go into a smaller time frame, wait for the retest, and then take the first buy signal that you get, depending on your strategy. You can also take it at the break of that fractal. Either one of those methodologies will work just fine. Just make sure you're managing accordingly. Your lot size, if you're taking it here, should be dynamically different than if you're taking it here, because your stop loss is dynamically different. So just something to keep in mind. Otherwise, great potential trade. Two more, CAD JPY. Let's zoom out again just to show you. We know the JPY pairs have went nuts. No breath, no room, no turnaround. They did not blink. They did not stop it go. They did not collect $200. Nothing. All the JPY pairs. Somebody explained it really well, and I don't want to butcher those words, but essentially it's, the Japanese yen is on for us right now. So in layman's terms, if I'm not butchering it, which made sense the way they explained it. So with that said, had a nice impulse. We have yet to really retest any of this move. We're currently crawling back up. We still are in sellers, potential sell market according to simplicity in this particular system. We're retesting a high. So now that we've got this nice little picture in our brain, let's get my crosshairs back out one more time. All the way down where prices broke out before, total of about 700 pips. You know that I'm going to be really looking at the areas of interest, my levels, right? Looking at the voids that are looking to be filled, where all the orders are going to be sitting. You're still looking at anywhere from 350 to 700 pips. Taking this as soon as you get a 5 or 15-minute arrow, well, signal, I should say, not a bad way to be at all. So zooming in, our most recent fractal is not till down here. We don't want to wait that long. So again, you've got a lot of different ways to do it. You can take it at the most recent fractal, and for duplication purposes, that's usually what we write down. But if you know a little bit more about trading, or even just a tiny bit more about trading, your best bet is going to be to go to one of these smaller time frames, wait until you get the signal to sell, and then sell it early, because then you'll catch it way sooner. You've definitely got some previous structure and correlation to kind of go off of, confluence, right? Not a bad setup whatsoever. Definitely keep your eye on this pair. GU is last. I really don't want to be over leveraged in GBP at all, or USD for that matter. But let's scroll out a whole bunch. Look at this. Look how GBP is traditionally known as a really trending pair. So let me collect my thoughts and then say them. So GBP is considered, I think, by many, a pretty trending pair. Like, it moves reasonably smoothly. It's the top one, or, you know, it varies between the second and third. Euro USD is typically the most traded pair Forex wise, but it's easily the second and third. It bounces around depending on what source you're citing. Having said that, this has not been moving smoothly. So nice impulse, played around, really choppy all over the place. Impulse, pulled back. This is smooth. This is clean. Impulse, we come up. It's just massively indecisive. So let's keep that in mind. We don't even make a lower low in any sense of a way that makes sense. We come down, we make again a slightly higher low. So this is a higher low than this. Here's our most recent low, our biggest low on the screen. This is a slightly higher low, and then this even still a slightly higher low than that. We've got enough reason to say, hey, this has got some room. But again, GBP, we're going to have to be pretty mindful of what we're doing, just because so much is going on with the Great Britain pound, number one. 500-ish pip target. Looking at some of our areas of interest, that's 300 with an easy one of about 180, 190. Stop loss, even if you're using the biggest form of structure, I'm trying to get it on the chart here, about 100 pips, and I'm going to, say that pretty mildly. Not a bad potential entry. So again, how do we take this trade, particularly with where it's at? We don't want to take this one as late either, especially in such a heavily trended market. What I would be doing is going to the smaller time frame and taking the next available entry. We did have this marked up last week in terms of our potential. We were looking at it, I think, analyzing it not for a trade idea, but for discussion purposes. This is still not a bad area from where we drew last week. You can obviously have a pending buy here. There's a little bit of structure there too, kind of the middle of this zone. If you can see this box, I try not to draw too much with these tools because they're just a pain, but not a bad entry. Otherwise, use the smaller time frame. Find your perfect entry, take it up, keep a pretty tighter stop loss here if you want it huge on structure. Otherwise, you've got a really good stop loss, and you're talking 10 to 1, 20 to 1, 50 to 1 risk to reward ratio if your stop loss is over here or here. So those are the 6 pairs we looked at tonight. That is all we have. We got our pips from last week. Keep in mind, this is NFP, so plan accordingly. Also, the third Tuesday of this month, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go live. We'll answer questions. I'll see if Miss Donna is available so she can manage YouTube comments at that time. If I have it all set up properly and I get through everything on my desk, I will have up the new simplicity system that everyone is raving about, the Sexy Analyst. Pretty much, it just kind of gives you some of the tools that, and wraps it into one nice bow. So it's got your AA lines, also known as channels. It's got your Fibonacci, and then of course it's got your structure, all wrapped into one beautiful bow with an alert system. So probably won't put the alert system on my computer. I already have vastly more than my computer can take now, but I will definitely put it on the chart, kind of line it up with simplicity and show you how I would use it, because I can't answer all the questions in Telegram. But if you can come to that class, take note, write it on your calendar, write down your questions, message me prior to, like the day of. I will make sure I answer every single question you have in terms of that system or any advice that I might be able to give you. So other than that, I hope you guys have a beautiful, happy Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the stuff that helps the YouTube algorithm that I'm supposed to say at least once to twice on every video. I will work on that. Either way, have a great night. Take care and God bless.